Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mojo Grip myplane showcase. Today I've got a speed machine for you. This is an airplane that I'm actually excited about. I've always wanted to check out one. Stay tuned, we're going to check out the Lancair 320. Here guys, this is one of the fastest single engine piston airplanes that you see out there. Now, it's fast because it's also experimental. Chances are you won't find any certified airplane that has the same or even close to the same performance as an airplane like this. This is a 1999 Lancair 320. If you're familiar with experimental airplanes, you know about the Lancair. And although the company has sort of been in and out of businesses and changed ownership, it's still a staple name in the experimental industry. And Lancair is known for building speed machines. That's it. You know, you can compromise on space, you can compromise on everything else, but if you want to go fast and you want to burn as less fuel as possible, a Lancair is definitely an option you should look at. And this one here is one of the first models. Now, with this particular body frame, Lancair, they've had different variations. You have the 320, the Legacy, they call them, and the 360. But it's all similar body frame. You might have one iteration here and there, but it's pretty much the same airplane. And this one is considered the 320 because the engine in it is a Lycoming IO 320. So those put out about 150 to 160 horsepower. But for this body frame, that's a ton of heat, that's a ton of power. And this airplane has very little drag. As you can see, it is a complex aircraft, so you have retractable landing gear, and that's also what allows you to go fast. You know, once those gears come up, there's very little drag on this thing, and you can go. You can go places. But anyway, I've always admired the look of this plane, man. It's just so sleek. I mean, look at it. I'll shut up for a minute and just have you look at it. Such a beautiful airplane. Very neat design. You see how nice and low it is to the ground. Now guys, you know I'm a sucker for low wings. I don't know why. I just love low wing airplanes, and this is one of the sexiest one around. It's just so beautiful. And you see one flying in the skies, once those wheels come up, it looks so good. And even the colors on this, you see, got a white-red combination, very light, very clean. Oftentimes I like more clean base color, and I love how there isn't too much graphics on this plane. You've got maybe some gold or champagne color highlights here, but for the most part you've got bright white, and then you've got some red on it, and then some red also on the canopy. Now, the owner of this airplane, they used to own another airplane that I reviewed on this channel before, which was the Very Easy. And that plane goes fast already. But this one goes even faster, and you could probably go a longer distance with it. But anyway, let's hop in. Let me show you what this thing is working with. I've opened it slightly here, and you lift this up, okay? And you see, this is like a sports car or a coupe. It's a two-seater. All right. Now, one of the things you find with Lancairs is, like I said, what you're getting in speed, you may be giving up in space. This is not the largest cabin. Even the seats, you see the seats here. This is all the room you have to be able to put your foot in. And I'll get in a second. But this is one of those airplanes that you just wear. You pretty much get in and wear. Now, even if you're on the taller side, you can fit in here. You can fit in here just fine. I believe the rudder cables are adjustable. So if you look down here, you see those rudders there, and you pull on that cable, you can pull it in and out. The seats you can't adjust because these are static for the most part. But you can't adjust this, so that means if you need more space, you can only work with the rudder. And you see here, middle stick Again, space saving, so you can't have your stick here. You can't have a yoke there because it's gonna take more space. So right in the middle, you sit in, you get comfy, and you got your control stick here. Same thing on that side. If you look at the panel, let me show you the panel real quick before I even hop in. You can see some upgrades have been done to this plane now. It is a 1999 model, so this airplane is at least 10 years old. And so the owner, they've gone through several upgrades. You can see the avionics have been upgraded. You see a Garmin GNS 430 there. That's to tell you this is IFR. So some upgrades have happened, and I think they're even doing more. I'm not sure what's gonna go in there, but we'll see. And you see the controls there. Throttle, mixture, prop. It's a constant speed prop on this plane. That's how you're able to get the performance. Now, let's hop in and let me show you how comfortable this thing may be. Guys, here I am sitting in the Lancair 320. It's pretty cozy, to say the least. Very cozy in here. See how well I'm sitting now. You look at the cabin width. Again, you're not working with a lot of room now. Given when you think of the pilot who's flying one of these, oftentimes it's just you. Okay, people who buy or fly airplanes like this, they want to get to places and they want to get there fast, and that's what this plane is for. And so you sit in this thing, there is some room. It's not so much feel like as if you're wearing it. Also, think of it as, again, when you're flying a fast airplane, you want to feel like you're that close in the airplane. Now, in terms of the leg room I was describing earlier, so this is my leg here. I'm perfectly actually good where the rudder pedal is, but if I needed to move and maybe extend the rudder pedal, I just pull on the cable here to be able to push the rudder pedals back and forth. But in terms of ergonomics, everything looks good. My hands are within reach of my control stick here, and also, let me exchange hands. If I need to, so basically your left hand is on the control stick, and then you've got your right hand doing what it needs to do with your throttle, mixture, prop, whatever the case may be. Also, let me turn the camera around. Also, everything here pretty much within reach. If I need to control any of this, if I need to touch on my radios, I'm good to go, all within reach. So ergonomically, things are where they need to be and they work good. Now, you look on this side, that's where you have all your circuit breakers. You've got a CO detector there, which is always coming in handy. Now, some of the upgrades I would think, being an older aircraft, you can see some USB jacks. There's one there, there's two here, which is great. If you need, mainly for your iPad. So a lot of pilots fly with an iPad, so if you need to charge stuff, even cameras, whatever the case may be, your phone, USB chargers always come in handy. But you look at this panel, there's not much to it. It's nothing too crazy where you're looking for things. All your electric switches are down here. You've got your gear up and down switch here, and those lights will help you indicate what's happening with the gear. And you see there it says your VLO, which is probably the max speed to be able to extend your gear. And something very, very common with some older airplanes or experimental, you have them use, or so you see miles per hour rather than knots. Now you go to the airspeed, you see this is in knots, but here it's in miles per hour. Obviously you do the calculation yourself and make sure you don't make any mistakes. But in terms of how this thing works, very simple. There's nothing complex about it. If you have a need for speed, this is the airplane for you. Now guys, the Lancair, in my opinion, this is not an airplane for everybody, okay? As a matter of fact, I would not encourage or push a new pilot to fly a Lancair, particularly the Legacy, the 320 or the 360. These are very, very fast machines. Let me close the canopy for a minute, okay? These are very fast machines, and if you're gonna fly one, you better know how to catch up with it, okay? And if you're on the newer side or you're a low hour pilot, you probably want to still build some time with a slower airplane, a more forgiving airplane. If you want something easier to fly. This is not it. Now, I'm not saying the Lancers are hard to fly. I'm just saying that this is a high performance airplane. Now, not high performance in terms of the power plant, but in speed. You're going over 200 miles per hour in this thing, and as a pilot, you would want to be able to keep up with it. So oftentimes, the type of pilots you see flying these are either more intermediate pilots or pilots who are way experienced in flying in general. And they're used to speed, they're used to flying different machines. And also, Lancers are used for racing. So this could be a racing airplane. Obviously, it's an experimental, so you can modify it as much as you want. As a matter of fact, this one in particular, believe is also modified because it has 54 gallons of usable fuel. That's a lot. The standard, I believe, is 46 gallons. And even with that, you can go over 1,400 miles. That's a long time. You can fly this thing for 1,400 miles. Now, speaking about that speed, you can go 195 knots in this airplane. That's the cruise speed. That's not the maximum speed. Okay, so convert that. You're looking at 224 miles per hour, just cruising along. And you're only burning 9 gallons of fuel per hour. So if you want to talk about economical, this may be one of the most economical airplanes out there. Going over 200 miles per hour, burning 9 gallons of fuel per hour. But again, as a pilot, you better be able to handle that kind of speed. And so much about the design of this airplane makes it that fast. Okay, it's lightweight. You have retract. You have a 2-bladed prop. Okay, which is less weight than a 3-bladed prop. It's a hard-to prop, and it's also constant speed. So that way, you get better performance out of it. The engine is not huge. You have a Lycoming 320, which only puts out about 160 horsepower. So you don't have all the horsepower in the world, but yet, because of the way this thing is designed, and you complement it with the constant speed prop, retractable landing gear, you get all that performance. So altogether, this is a beautiful piece of machine for the right pilot. Now, in terms of price, to get in one of these, you're looking about, let's just say, 80 to 100 grand. That's about how much you can find them at a minimum. Now, you want something maybe newer, or with some upgrades, you're looking at well over $100,000 for the Lancer 320, or even the 360 if you can find them. And I know since Lancer has been bought out a few years ago, they've even come out with a newer version of this model. And with the newer version, you see those retract. Only the nose landing gear will retract, and the other two is fixed, similar to the Lancer Mako. So they have a newly designed model, but the pricing on that one is much more expensive than just getting a used one here. Now, in terms of your mission, this is a cross-country airplane. Don't get this if you're only going short distance. This is a machine where if you have somewhere further to go and you want to get there fast, that's why you get a Lancer 320. I wouldn't see any other reason why you would invest in getting an airplane like this if it's not for cross country. And the owner of this airplane actually uses this airplane